All right, and we are rolling. Hey guys, it's your buddy Jake Dominguez back with another movie review. Today we are going to review The Great Wall. All right, let's get this over with. So, The Great Wall is directed by. Let me see. Let me make sure. I want to make sure I say this right. Yimou Zhang. Yimou Zhang. I want to make sure I pronounce his name right because he's an absolute genius. He's the same man who brought us the film Hero, the film House of Flying Daggers, Flowers of War, that movie with Christian Bale, just some of the greatest films of all time. Not just of Chinese cinema, but of cinema period. The guy's a genius. And it's directed by him, and it tells the story of a couple of European mercenaries who are trying to find what they call black powder. We know that they're referring to gunpowder, right, when you're watching the movie. So they go to China and they find this gigantic wall, what we know as the Great Wall of China. and they find out that the Chinese have created this Great Wall in order to keep a bunch of monsters out. Yeah. And so they kidnap these two European mercenaries, they capture them, and they learn more about why this Great Wall was made, about these monsters that have been attacking them forever and ever. And one of the mercenaries, played by Matt Damon, starts to question his prior life of, thievery and not being a good person, being a mercenary, and starts to learn more about the way the Chinese people live, about how they live with honor and fighting for family and blah, blah, blah. And he starts to rethink his life and decides to help the Chinese fight these monsters once and for all. So, yeah, very fictional tale. This is I don't think there were really gigantic monsters attacking China, and that's why they created the Great Wall. But it doesn't matter. It's a movie, and we all know that when we watch it. And I was pretty excited going in to see this movie just because of the director alone. He's a brilliant filmmaker. I was watching some of Hero on Netflix just the other day in preparation for this film. And it is an incredibly shot, amazing film. Again, not just in terms of world cinema, just cinema period. And I'm a massive fan of Matt Damon. I mean, Matt Damon is one of those actors that if he's in a movie, I'm going to see it because he's in it. There is a handful of actors that I can say that for, and Matt Damon is one of them. In the context of this movie, though, that doesn't say a lot. Okay, let's talk about the Great Wall overall. Have you ever seen a movie that has good things in it, that has good ideas, that has potential, but didn't quite get that potential just right? Like you're watching the movie and you're like, okay, that's a good idea for a scene, that's a good idea for a story, but you didn't quite get it there just right. To me, that was me during the entirety of The Great Wall. This movie is a massive mixed bag. Let's talk about the positives. There's a gigantic cast full of a bunch of Chinese actors, which all do the best they can. The movie has a bunch of really awesome action scenes, which are really the highlight of the movie. All the scenes involving them fighting these crazy monsters are definitely the most entertaining of the film. I wish there was more focus on that, really, to be honest, because the focus is just in so many different places at once. Really, the beginning of the film and the end of the film, where they have these huge set pieces where that involve them fighting the monsters. It's by far the highlights of the film. As far as other positives, it's a very pretty movie to look at. The set design, the costume design is colorful. This is a very expensive looking film. One interesting thing about The Great Wall is that this is let me see if I get this right. It's like the highest, most expensive film ever made in China, I guess, if I'm getting that right. This film is made in a collaboration with different American companies like Legendary Pictures and different Chinese companies or whatever. In order to create this film, they got Matt Damon, who's the biggest star in the world, to act in it so that American audiences can come and see it. So this movie is a big international effort. And it really does feel like it at times. Like, I read another review where they said this, and it really stuck out to me. And they talked about how this film has moments that are very Chinese that would fit like in a typical Yimou Zhang film, like in terms of just Chinese cinema. And there's times where it feels very American, where they're like trying to be superheroes and that sort of thing. And it's like two different sensibilities that kind of clash. And I thought that definitely had something to it. This film is a very messy movie. And to get straight into the negatives, I thought this movie was just very boring. This is a very tedious film and has an uninteresting story, and by far the biggest negative is the characters. What characters? There are no characters. It's just actors giving dialogue. And I know that sounds pretty harsh, and I hate to say it, but there really is no one to latch onto in this film. The only character that there's an attempt to really create something is the character played by Matt Damon. Now, I've already talked about how much I love and respect Matt Damon. Let's talk about him in this movie. He's trying. He's trying. He has this bad part and an otherwise kind of lousy script, and he's trying the best he can. But I hate to say it, but this is probably one of the weaker roles I've seen from him. And I don't think it's his fault. He's trying as hard, and he's perfectly fine in the movie. He's such a great actor that even in his worst moments, he's still gonna pull off a semi-decent performance. But in this movie, like, it just felt like, and I think this is the same with other people going to see this movie too that I've talked to. It's like, why is Matt Damon in this film? Like, this is so not the kind of film he would normally do. It seems so below him. I mean, that sounds so condescending. I'm sorry, but I don't know. Like, he's just an emotionless character, and he has nothing to work with. Maybe if Gerard Butler or somebody was in this role, that would make more sense. But when you have like an extraordinary actor like Matt Damon, you hope you give him an extraordinary part. And this part, he has nothing to work with. In this movie, Matt Damon's character they talk about how he has a past. He's a thief, he's a terrible person, he's a liar, blah, blah, blah. And how the movie shows him supposedly changing into a good person by hanging out with the Chinese. But we never really get to really know who Matt Damon's character is, because he doesn't really have one. He just comes across as like an emotionless, blank person. We're only told by other characters what a bad person he was in the past. It's kind of like, it's not show don't tell. This is tell instead of showing, and it doesn't really work. And it's such a shame. Matt Damon is a great actor. He could do anything, and in this role, I don't know what he's doing there. And honestly, I'm not really sure what he's doing in this movie, besides the fact that they needed to get the biggest star in the world to act in it. Overall, it's a big mixed bag of a movie. It's pretty to look at. It's mostly entertaining. But it just didn't quite do. There's so many things in this movie that could have been really good. Like, there's a subplot about involving this, like, I think it was like a cook. Like, he was like one of the soldiers who was mainly a cook, and he wasn't that good a soldier, and Matt Damon's character kind of takes him under his wing. Like, there's little things like that could lead to some cool character moments and some awesome just action scenes later on. I don't know. It's just, I don't know. This movie's a bit of a mixed bag. I've been pretty hard on this movie, and I don't know what to say about it. It's just a big mixed bag of a film, but it's watchable. You can rent or watch this movie. It's a watchable film. It's well directed. Like I said, it's pretty to look at. It does have some good moments. The action sequences are cool, but overall, I was pretty disappointed with it. Again, there's good things, there's bad things, there's potential here that I don't think was completely realized, and that's a shame. So I'm going to give The Great Wall a C, just a solid C. I wouldn't recommend seeing this film in the theater. If you really want to, go for it. You'll get something out of it. It's a watchable, entertaining movie, but I was pretty disappointed by it. I would just recommend renting it or something like that. So yeah, I'm not going to lie, guys. This was very disappointing for me. Like, I was super excited to see this movie because the director is so talented. Matt Damon's awesome, of course. The whole cast is really good. Willem Dafoe's in this movie, by the way. I'm a big fan of Willem Dafoe. Not quite sure what he's doing in this movie. His character is sort of here and there, but I don't know. Yeah, the Great Wall. There you go. So that's my thoughts on the Great Wall. What did you guys think of this movie? Did you like it more than I did? Did you dislike it more than I did? And what were some things in this movie that you think could have been better? Because this is definitely one of those movies where it's like, oh, a couple more drafts, and this could have been something really great, but didn't quite get there. Guys, thank you so much for watching. I cannot put into words how much I appreciate you watching these videos and subscribing to this channel. If you like this video, don't forget to hit that like button, subscribe, and never forget, I'm always there for you. You guys are my friends. I'm your friend. I'm always going to be there for you. Never forget that. You guys are the best. I'll see you next time.